Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show, and welcome to a video response. So this is a video response to Simone's recent video of her January 23 Best of Currently Inked Shimmer Ink Suck Pen video. Now, she made a mistake of putting shimmer ink in her Kaweco. I don't own any Kaweco Sports because I just know that I like shimmer inks, and I want to kind of explain, a little bit about, this is just a facsimile. This is a little pocket pen, but it has the same type of fins as the Kawecos do. So I wanted to show you that inside the feed here are these little tiny fins. You can see them. And they're no more than like a fingernail, maybe 3 fingernails thick worth. They're not very big. And shimmer particles are about 1/100th of that space. And so only 100 particles thick, maybe 300 or 500 particles would interrupt just one of those, but there's like at least 1,000, maybe 2,000 particles that are interrupting the flow. And there's like nothing you can do to get it to move down this very, very small channel. So if you're thinking about getting a Kaweco Sport and using shimmer, you're not going to be able to do it successfully because the channel is so thin. And some may say, oh, it's a big channel, but this is a very small channel for putting shimmer ink in. And let me see if I can. And you can see that there's just no room for shimmer particles. There's one little tiny slit. Okay? And then the hole in the back is just, and that's pretty much taken up with that big post, and those 2 little tiny slits. That's all you have for the shimmer and the ink to get through. So it's not going to work. You're never going to be able to get shimmer particles through that little tiny hole. So the other problem that she had was she has a Lamy Safari or Vista Lamy Safari. And she put shimmer ink in here, and you can see inside that it has the same problem as the smaller Kaweco. There's all of these fins, and it's a very small channel. We're gonna take this feed out so that we can look at it, and you can see here that there's not much. Move this up so I can scroll in more. So you can see that there's not much of a channel here. This little tiny channel, that's all that there is. But here's a little trick. If you take out the feed and you place your thumbnail against that little ridge right there and you push it that way, you will slide the middle of the feed out. Don't lose this little tiny piece. It is so little. And then you will go from a little tiny to a huge amount of liquid to be able to get through. And it will, and you can you take that out to wash it and whatever. So, and that will take it all the way up to the breather hole What did I do with my nib? Here it is. And you can see that it will take it right up to the breather hole, so that way it can exchange air for ink. And it will seem a little tiny bit loose, but like once you get it in there, it should be fine. And it will be a wet, juicy writer, and you can put all the shimmer ink in there you want. But still, you have to consider that that hole and that peg, that is all that's going to be left to let ink and shimmer through that little tiny hole, which really isn't hardly anything when you look at it. The same thing with, this is a Conklin. This is a Conklin Demograph. And I'm just gonna uninstall this really quick so we can see. The same thing happens with this. You have this, see, you have this little bitty hole. That's it. That's all that the ink and the shimmer particles are coming through, which is next to nothing. Next to nothing. So, here's what I suggest. I suggest that you invest, if you like shimmer particles, I would highly, highly suggest that you invest in a Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya version 2 with an Ultraflex nib. This has an ebonite feed, and the fins are smaller, but they're also connected. It's not a huge, it's like not segmented like a plastic feed is. You can see the difference. You have this little tiny track to run the ink down, but on this one, practically this whole thing you can run ink down. Now when you pull the nib and the feet from the Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya, you can automatically see, look at that huge channel. This pen was made for that ink flow. And look at how big that hole is in the back. It's massive. Comparatively, let's take a look. There's the hole of the Lamy, and there's the Fountain Pen Revolution. There's the hole of the Conklin, and there's the hole of the Fountain Pen Revolution. Big difference. Also, I would highly recommend the Noodler's Conrad. And I would recommend the Conrad over the Ahab for one specific reason, and that is because when you have an Ahab, this is an Ahab, or it might be a triple tail. This is a triple tail, but it's just the same as the Ahab. In order to do anything to the converter, you have to unscrew the barrel and then push or pull this very fragile feeling tube in order to get the ink to come out. However, when you lubricate when you first get a Conrad, take it apart and you oil all the pieces with some silicone grease. This piston knob is super smooth, and there's no play in the knob, which is also another. And like if you run it into a shimmer ink that you need to prime the feed, all you have to do is twist the cap a little, twist the knob a little bit, and that will force a little bit of ink down the nib housing. And this one also has another wider channel than the number 6 size. you can see little tiny, it's a little bit bigger than that. The middle part of the feed would be kind of shelled out. Same for the Lamy, although the Lamy, when you take the middle part out, is pretty big. That goes for the number 5 size nibs too. You can have a whole lot of ink going through the Lamy nib feed over the Noodlers. And maybe even the Fountain Pen Revolution. That's a Noodler's feed. What did I do with it? That's a Noodler's feed. Oh, here's the Fountain Pen Revolution feed. Or the Fountain Pen Revolution feed. So you can see that the wider the channel, the more flow that you're going to get. And the wider the channel, the less resistance that you're going to have when using shimmer particles. I can also recommend the Noodler's Nib Creeper, because it also has a very wide channeled feed. It's a very deep, wide channeled feed, you can see. So, and then this is a Waterman number 2 nib, and I just shoved that in there to make fancy calligraphy. I know that was a lot to kind of delve into, and I hope that helps. If there's any questions that you guys have about this, you can leave that in the comment section below. Otherwise, that is all for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all, so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you, and I will be back very soon with another video. So take care until then. Okay, love you, bye. Have a great day.